All right, everybody, welcome to class 3 of visual storytelling, part 1. And today is going to be about how do we find good references or find good stories within our photos. Last week, I put out a call for, I think I called them less than, let me see what I called it here.
Almost.
Less than, almost there photos. Right, which we all have stacks of if you're out taking pictures, especially with our ability to take 10 photos of everything with our iPhones. And so yeah, we have a lot of really interesting options to look at. So I've put together a little file with some of your guys's paintings. I threw one of my own in there, and then I'm also going to share kind of how I have been working on a commission that I haven't even touched the canvas yet, but working back and forth with the client. And maybe even we'll share the email. I don't know if that'd be might be a little bit tricky. But just the conversation and how that's worked out. And it's been a really nice, smooth conversation. Last term, I was working on a great big 4-foot by 6-foot commission and told you guys that, wonderful clients, but I had done enough pre-work because they literally changed the entire season of the landscape. It was a vineyard. And then they changed the position of the sun. That was while I was actually working on the great big painting, which to somebody, just like move the sun, the client's just like, oh, that's, that is easy, right? Just paint it out here, add it over here. But what they don't realize is that changes the shadow patterns of every single thing. And the sky was a minor part of the painting, whereas all the lights and the darks were a major part. They were lucky. I was lucky that they're great clients. They had, bought other work. And they have, we were already in talks about a couple more paintings. So I didn't add anything to the price because I probably should have. But the thing was, in the back of my head, well, even talking to them, I'm like, yeah, all these choices are actually better. It does make a better painting. And so I was willing to do all those things, but it was stuff that it would be sure nice to work out earlier in the process, maybe in those thumbnail sketches, not in, because it basically felt like I painted a 4-foot by 6-foot painting 2 times. But again, I'm happy with it. They're happy with it. So it was, I suppose, worth it. But yeah, so how do we kind of avoid that? I'm a big proponent of kind of letting the conversation with the painting happen and kind of letting, Bob Ross's famous quote, happy accidents. I'm a big believer in that. And I do literally change my paintings based on funny little accidents that happen because I like to have that conversation. I find that if I overthink in the beginning, I'm just becoming rote. I'm just becoming a machine. It's like having a coloring book, and I just fill in the lines. But at the same time, that sure can be a lot of fun too, because then I'm experimenting with the colors, the brushwork, and I'm not just thinking about design all the way through. So I'm just going to go ahead and take over the screen. Tell everybody hi. Good to see you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen, and we're going to jump to our Padlet page here. All right. All right. Everybody sees our awesome little classroom here?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So again, videos here, artist inspiration. Cheryl added a new one here.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago. I was surprised.
Okay. Look at that update. We have art so that we shall not die of reality. Well, there you go. Perfect.
It's so true.
Nietzsche always had a very pessimistic way of saying beautiful things, didn't he? Online links. That's you, right, Linda? Morgan O'Connor added a post about visual path, which is really interesting. I actually included some of the notes from that into one of the handouts in here. And then from last week, just if you're curious to learn more about Notan and design, class handouts, that's where I post them. So again, for like this today ones I handed out, Brett, you should have just gotten the email from me. For some reason, your name was not on the list again. So anyways, if you accidentally delete the email or don't print them up in time or want to come back to these notes, all you have to do is click open the notes that you're interested in, go to the 3 dots over here. If somebody adds a comment, what happens is all of a sudden there's 3 dots here. But I want you to go to the ones that are on the very far right. And then there's right there is a download attachment. And something should open and you can decide where you want to download it to your computer. So if what I often do is just create a file for whatever class I'm taking, whatever instructor, or even like when I'm teaching these classes, I'm looking through my physical notes, I'm looking up things online, I'm watching videos on YouTube, just to try to figure out what's the language I should be using to convey, to you guys clearly. So anyways, that is all there. Love this little post by Lisa. Artist, I think I'm going to add a baby to my next painting. Student, have you ever seen a baby before? Artist, no, it's cool. I'll wing it. And it looks like my brother-in-law in Bulgaria, who's 55 years old.
I have a friend who's an iconographer and she teaches, and I'm going to steal that to send to her.
Yeah, it is so funny how, because my wife and I have a number of icons in our bedroom that we've gathered from our trips to Eastern Europe and stuff. You can buy them in the parks and things, and they're beautiful, some of them. And they, yeah, they're so funny. And then some of my favorite memories were in, I believe, Italy. And we went to this church where the whole floor had been painted with I think it was Noah's Ark, and all the animals coming out or going in, I don't remember. But they had obviously never seen any of the animals they were painting. I mean, it's famous because it has a unicorn in the painting. But it was so funny trying to guess like how somebody described a lion to them, how somebody described monkeys to them, and giraffes. And yeah, it was really fun to look at the crazy paintings. Okay, resources again, and that's just materials and things we talk about in class. Reference photos. Here's my quick humble brag. We went hot air ballooning last week.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic.
We got, there's 6 balloons, and we happened to be in the one with the owner, and she was just going crazy about how it was the best day of the whole year so far. It was just truly beautiful. And what was funny is it wasn't so foggy when we took off, because you take off really early, but then the fog rolled in and we were going along this river.
Wow.
The Columbia, yeah, I can't remember. Just outrageous. So I thought I would share some of those with you guys.
Beautiful. Wow.
Amazing. And what's neat is I have a gallery that's about 5 miles from where we were hot air ballooning. So I'm like, ooh, I actually have an excuse to maybe paint some of these. So I think that's all. Oh, no, one more. Yeah. We actually took our balloon and dipped down into the water, which was interesting. So that's what that balloon's doing over there.
Wow,
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Paint that one.
Yeah, I have so many. I think let's see if I can pull up the file real quick. I'll just show you how many photos my wife and I took. Where's
We did a little hot air ballooning in France one time, and I remember being able to lean out the side of the basket and go moo like this, and all the cows would stampede down on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's how many photos we took. I mean, so many. And yeah, here's like an interesting one. You'll see my fingers because I was so scared I was going to drop the phone, but look at, there's our reflection there, and another balloon below us. And yeah, just wonderful.
Wow.
Was this an anniversary or something?
No, we got them in an auction before COVID. And Yeah, just really cool. Anyways,
Nice.
all right, so now we're back to our Padlet. All right, thank you guys so much for sharing. Maurice Shapiro, I'm not sure how to say his name for sure. Shapiro, really like his work. Some of it gets so abstract and wonderful. And when I think about the direction I would like to go when I'm abstracting my work, oftentimes I do think about his work, another artist named David Sharp, and a couple others that I just really love. And someday I hope I'm brave enough to paint just big, almost abstracted landscapes. It's really something I dream about doing. Brett Cotton here. He actually used to live across the street from my sister in Montana, and my sister used to keep horses on his property, and the kids are good friends, and he's just a really nice guy. Yeah, great painter, really neat. And I learned a lot from him. And I should maybe say stole a lot from him, studying his work. Him and, you know, what I kind of think, you know, a reason we share these artists with each other is a big thing is I think it's fine to have lots and lots of influences and to borrow and to steal and to, you know, because I love backlighting. I love atmosphere. So I'm constantly looking for artists throughout history and that are living today. I wouldn't want to paint exactly like Brett. I wouldn't want to paint like exactly like any of these artists. Jan, I look at their work as well. And, you know, I'm just taking like, what are the things I really love about their work, you know, and trying to incorporate that or digest it, I guess, in a way, so that it becomes kind of a part of me. And yeah, I always joke that it's so dangerous when I go to a really good art gallery because I just walk around going, I want to do that. Oh, I would love to do that, you know. And but I think that's how we develop our style. You know, partly it's through just painting a lot and experimenting, but I think it's also from just really looking at a lot of different artists and just saying, you know, what do I like? What do I dislike about their work? Anyway, so I think this section here, artists we admire, is really useful. And I think we all are learning about artists maybe we hadn't heard of before. And so that's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the main subject today. So almost there photos, right? And I've gathered these into a folder so we won't have to load them like this. And plus I can edit them, right? I mean, this photo is to die for. That sky has to be painted, right? It's so beautiful. And Linda is so lucky to have bore witness to this in real life, you know. And then now we're getting the third iteration and it's still gorgeous, but Linda knows that, oh, you should have been there. It was amazing. But what happens is, you know, a lot of times we're just like, okay, this sky is gorgeous, take a photo, but you know, maybe the foreground is a little lacking, right? Rarely does a photo provide everything for us, correct?
Yeah.
No.
So a lot of times it's elements of the photo. One of the best things I can do when I'm seeing something like this, if I can, you know, for one, it's park the car. So I'm not just shooting out a moving car window, especially if I'm driving. Or it is go out of the building, right? So I'm not shooting through a dirty window.
Yeah.
Or step up to the fence so that I'm not shooting, you know, through a fence that's just a straight line across. And it is to try to, while taking the photo, try to take the best photo I can, right? So maybe I'm looking for leading lines that can get me into it. So maybe I would have walked over here and, you know, looked for an S curve leading in, but a lot of times it's just not there, right? A lot of times it's just a big lawn, or, you know, a lot of the best skies I saw for years were while watching my daughter play soccer from stadium, you know, from the bleachers, right? So it'd have a highway and cars, a parking lot, but I'm just shooting pictures of the gorgeous sunset, right, as my daughter's playing soccer. So a lot of times a photo is just incomplete. It's just notes. All right. So for those of you writing notes, write that if you do not have to paint the photo, you can paint just the elements that you like. So if I were to, and I probably will, Linda Camarada, steal this sky, it is so gorgeous. And when I say steal, I mean be inspired by.
Exactly.
Except for I mean steal in this
And
case.
you know,
'Cause that's
and you know,
perfect.
Michael, the gray looking on the right and the left, the big poofs, they were more purple. They were more purple than they show in the photograph.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Our cameras are lousy.
Yeah.
My camera cannot get pinks. Like we had a beautiful sunset last night. I was literally walking the dog trying to find, you know, what streets could I get a better view from. And every time I took the photo, it wasn't the right colors. And so I know that. That's what's the great thing about when you're out plein air painting, or like Linda, you could actually have a little quick sketchbook because you're, you know, in the same little area where you don't even paint the picture. You just take some color notes.
Yeah, I could.
I know a number of artists who will, like, you know, here's my plein air painting today. And it's just literally a transition of colors.
Yeah.
And just little quick notes. And again, like, okay, you got the sky really beautifully, but the trees are all, you know, the shadows are dark, 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 you know, so whenever you take a photo, again, I told you, was it last week, that a lot of times I'll touch the camera on the sky so that the sky looks good, but then the foreground and the darks will all just be a big dark mass. Then I touch it into the mid areas, which would be the background hill or the purple of those clouds. And then it'll capture those colors better, not perfectly. And then I'll touch one into the shadows, the dark areas, and the sky will most likely be bleached out and gone. So if it's something like this, where I'm like, I will paint this. This isn't just me taking, you know, photos of pretty things. This is a future painting. It's worth taking 3, you know, 6 photos. And I will literally print up a couple of them, or, you know, for me, I can just print from my monitor a lot of the time. So I'll just have, or I'll print one out for the design and then I'll have the other ones up on the monitor, especially if it is about the sky or the glow in the image. Painting from a printout is dead, right? That's just ink. There's no more glow. When you're painting from a monitor or a screen, at least it's backlit and glowing, right? So it is a little easier to print from a monitor when you're trying to capture the glow, but then you have to transcribe that to paint, which is not backlit and not glowing. So, but it's a bit of a trick. Any questions about that? And actually, let's go to our file here. What did I want? I want our.
I am so addicted to painting real life that it's extremely hard for me to work from photographs. But when I have been on a location or somewhere that I thought I was not going to have enough time to even do a quick photo, I used to take written notes. I'd say
100%.
Sky is a emerald green, or, you know, I'll just try to pick the colors that I think I would be using if I were painting. And that's
Absolutely. Yeah. And my buddy Anton, who does lots of thumbnail sketches, I've talked about him, about the preliminary work and stuff he does. He does this thumbnail sketch, and then he writes some quick notes of what it's about, like why he's interested in doing it. Like we went out on Monday and plein air painted out in the Columbia River Gorge, which is just beautiful. And he wrote, you know, like the foreground tree is so much darker than the misty background hills. I really want to push that.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what it's about. All right. So I'm just going to pull up some pictures, unless I just interrupted you. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I have a lot of photographs that I was recently trolling through because I'm trying to train myself to be able to work. And I just look at photographs and I remember taking the photograph. I remember it was great. It's a perfect location, but I just look at the photograph and I cannot make myself not see it as a photograph. I can't lift off, even though I can mentally say, I know that ground wasn't that dark, or I know that I just, you know, I'm the opposite of most of the people I know. Most of the people I know learn to paint from photographs. And so it's easier for them than when they go out in the real deal. So,
Yeah,
Well,
no, that's all really good. And I think that is important to know. And I think what you're going to want to do is, well, I'm going to jump back to our Padlet.
I'm working on it because I'm now older and getting out, is not as easy as it was. Getting up at dawn so that I can get that first morning light, or going out until evening so I can get the sun down.
All
with
right, you guys see
mosquitoes
our
all over
Padlet
me.
again?
Yes.
Jada, do you
Yeah.
see our Padlet again?
Yeah.
Okay, so in here, most of the students have seen this handout, but I just moved it up, I think. And I just sent it in the newest email as well.
Good.
I have, and it's going to be different for all of us.
Are you looking for building?
Just my little checklist.
Oh, no, well, that's not in the most recent emails.
It was last week, right there.
Yeah,
It is on the bottom of it. It's
Okay.
in the attachment.
Okay.
I don't want to update it. Oh, I guess I have to update it. But anyways, if you scroll down, and I'll move it up here, but I don't know why it's saying update. I've made a little self-critique, and I actually will try to do this before and midway through the painting, as well as at the end of the painting. But I literally will try when I'm doing well, Jada. I don't always do this, but when I do, the painting is better. And I save myself time at the, in progress by spending just a couple minutes at the beginning. I'm sorry that I don't know why it says update. Oh, I guess I said to touch it. Okay.
there we go.
There we go. So anyways, I just have these kind of questions for myself. And then I added a bunch of notes after to explain what they mean for you guys. But just literally what's, the theme, idea, the concept, what do I wish to communicate? This affects every other decision, subject, mood, palette, composition, design and composition, just writing some notes. Value, distribution, and structure. That's what you're just talking about. Like, oh, I knew the ground is, lighter, or, the trees need more color in them. Like the commission I'll be sharing with you guys, the trees are really dark and they're beautiful cypress trees. They've got the right shape, but they're black because they're, silhouetted, and we don't want that. We want some color in there. Color and temperature shifts. And this is just an opportunity for me to read through this, because it's like a reminder, like within this image, I want all of these things, right? Edges, how hard, how soft, do I have lost edges, found edges, paint quality and feel, which is really important for me because I paint typically quite thin and I scrub a lot. And a lot of times, having some really dramatic, dynamic, thick impasto paint with, different qualities can be really effective. And then at the end here, it's, when I'm critiquing at the end, what were the strengths of my painting? What were the weaknesses, or need more time, more work? And creativity, am I challenging myself, right? And so having something like this, you can just print up, 10 of them, or make your own. Is more importantly, what are things that you're working on? A lot of artists, a lot of beginning students, or even intermediate students, I would say, the very first thing they need to write is, where's the horizon line? What is the light source, right? And these are just notes and reminders to ourselves, because it's amazing when we're going back and looking at our work on, on our Padlet page, and how often I will ask, where's the light source? And they're like, oh yeah, one shadow is going one direction, another shadow is going another direction. And, or if you're plein air painting and you're a slow painter, you started at 8 in the morning and ended up at noon, and the light, has completely moved from, coming up in the east to directly overhead. So it's great to have a little checklist and reminders for ourselves. So let me just go ahead and put that towards the top if I can.
Well, my little checklist actually nowadays has get out and go down and just take the photographs and take the notes and look at it fresh. Because I'm looking at old photographs, instead of looking at what's happening today. And I need today. So I'm trying to make myself every day just go out.
Good for you. Good for you. All right. So back to here. So this is a photo I took a while back, which of course is beautiful because it's got lavender in it, you know, it's got fog in it, it's got all these beautiful elements. But it's not something I've ever painted just because something doesn't, you know, feel quite right.
Exactly.
You know, is it because it's this long arrow shape here? Let me see if I can draw on this one. Trying to remember which tools I have. I'm trying to use our markup. So I'm trying to use our simplest photo software, which, you know, you might not have the exact version of it, but so first thing I would do when I look at a photo like this is figure out what's the main element. What do I really like and want to make sure I retain in this, right? It could be completely different for all of us. You know, somebody maybe loves these trees or this crazy droopy pine tree. For me, and I think most of us, it's kind of this area, right? The fog and stuff, as well as the highlights, the light skimming across the lavender. So the first thing I might do is just figure out an edit that I like, right? Right now, I just split it half and half, lavender on the bottom, everything else on the top. I can decide if that's uncomfortable. I can, you know, move it down. All of a sudden it's a square format, which actually does feel a little better, which is not usually the case with a square format. I can also just go, you know, I could make it a long horizontal. So I love playing with the edit tool. A lot of times it just helps me to quickly visualize, you know, what if it was a tall vertical? Right. And then I can also move this around and it helps me to kind of go, okay, well, that's interesting. What if this weird little scraggly tree became the focal point? I can move it. You see the crossbars? The two going up, two going across the middle. A lot of times I like to keep my focal point in one of those crossbars. So if I decided that the tree was the thing, I'll put it close to or within that space. Right. Yeah, and it's an interesting one because, yeah, I really don't know. And sometimes I just have to come to terms with, it's a nice photo. It doesn't need to be a painting. Not every pretty photo needs to be, or deserves to be a painting.
I like that tree on the left because it's brighter. It's not dark like some of the other ones. Yeah, just the one where you can see the trunk.
This one here, yeah.
That one, yeah.
Exactly. So then let's just say we like that tree.
I liked what you last had where it's horizontal, but that tree is on the left.
Little counterbalance to it over here.
Like that, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pick that just for, you know, I don't even know what format that is. That's probably like a 10 by 20, right? A 1 by 2.
Somewhere you click on there and it tells you, but
Oh, on the bottom. So let me go ahead and show you that. So instead, so right now I'm on free transform, free frame. So I can actually pick, if I know that the canvas I'm painting on is like a 9 by 16 or a 9 by 16 this way, that makes it easy, right? 4 by 5, which would be like an 8 by 10, right? I've been doing a lot of 3 by 4s, which is 9 by 12s and 16 by 20 or 18 by whatever, math.
I think it was a 1 by 2 you just did a minute ago.
Yeah, and let's try that 1 by 2 over here, right? And I do have a lot of panels because I bought a pack of them, which are I think 8 by 16s or something like that.
Yeah, I have 12 by 24s.
That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. And they're beautiful sizes.
yeah, I like that.
They're a lot of fun. And what's interesting too is if you do big verticals, a lot of people who don't have a lot of space for paintings actually really like verticals because they fit in smaller spaces, right? Like at the ends of like between doorways or between a door and a window, or you know, but they sure can be tricky. You know, maybe this isn't the design for it. That actually could be kind of a beautiful painting.
That is, I love it.
Yeah.
So that's what's so fun about editing. All right. Okay, so let's quickly, I'm just going to say save as a copy. So if you save it, you override your original photo. So I always just do save as a copy. It's going to show the name that the previous image was. I'll oftentimes just add a 1 at the beginning, at the end.
Yeah.
So that it's literally, they'll be side by side in my file folder. And I'm just going to go to edit. And now what I'm going to quickly do, and I don't want to be talking about mine, I want to be talking about yours. But what's interesting, so this is the drawing tool, is now I can say, you know, where are my guiding lines, right?
Okay, my only problem is this. We're all pointing to that tree over there that's not such a wonderful tree.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
But then
So
that
does
tree
that
kind of
matter?
pushes you back, right?
What's that?
Yeah.
The tree is a bit of a stop. And there's
Mm.
nothing that says this needs to be the tree. I can just go, that's a pretty cool tree. With this app, I don't think I can copy, but I could literally just move this tree over here.
Okay,
Mentally, physically, I could use any of these other trees. I could, you know, it doesn't need to be this tree. None of this needs to be any of this.
okay.
I am free to cut down all these trees. I am free to make my hill more bulbous and rounded if I feel like it's going to be. Again, this is just our starting point, right?
Well, you can also make it not the focus by lightening it a little bit, and then whatever you do with the water to the left of it. So, I mean, you can still leave it in there, but not make it be such a focus.
I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely. I can, yeah, there's so many things I can do, and that's what we're going to talk about.
What's
But what
what's behind it?
fog,
No, is that a bunch of trees down over the hill behind?
yeah, a bunch of trees down there. So
But
those
that
are-
wouldn't be something that if you took it out, it would be okay down there.
I'd get rid
Probably.
of them and I'd keep
Might
that
be.
funny little tree. I like that funny little tree.
Yeah, because that little tree has holes in it where the ones in the back are just a big block.
Uh-huh.
right.
Yeah.
And
Personality.
you can make it redder. I mean, it's got kind of a redness to it. But I just wanted to show you this. When I'm looking at this, do you guys see that it's creating an arrow?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the energy is so profound. You know, it's really just this, like if somebody was walking through the gallery, you know, coming from looking at Graham's beautiful painting to the left of this painting, and then they get to my painting, you know, Graham's painting is circular and has flow throughout it and movement. And this one just says, shoot to the right, right? It's just literally everything is shooting you off to the right. So like I might darken these trees here, or I might try to find or even make some lines in this hillside that are bouncing back. I might add some clouds that are doing something. I might put a dark break in my lavender to bring us back. You know, you can see kind of the hints of shadows where, because they're bushes, right? They're not just in the line, they're rounded bushes. So I might just push the shadows, right? And now we've got a crisscross going on, right? You can also clear out these trees so that we get a bit of a circular pattern within.
Can't you just use the curve where the water, you know, curve around? Just
Yeah, the water's fog, just so you guys know.
No, over to the right where the water ends, where it meets the land. You could make the land do more of a striking curve to bring you back into the painting.
Absolutely. Yeah, you could put trees back in there that are taller. Yeah, all these things. So that's where, you know, you go, okay, there's something beautiful here, the light across the things, you know, it's got the fog, it's got the lavender, it's got the hills, it's got so many of the things that I love about where I live. But unfortunately, it's not quite a great painting.
I want to see you paint the color of those lavenders because that's just an amazingly Innis kind of feeling of late afternoon. It's not your typical lavender scene. And
yeah, it's much warmer, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just captures that late afternoon sunlight.
Yeah, those are questions I'd be asking is like, okay, that's not a lavender color. It's pretty.
How do you paint that?
Right. And then, but you do have the cools in the shadows that are so beautiful. And then what I love is the blue greens. And then what you see the color in the transition
Yeah.
between the strong shadows and between the light is where you get these beautiful lavender purpley colors that we'd all understand a little better. So anyways, those are just some of the thoughts. I don't want to go over mine, and I want to spend time on your guys's.
But you know what, Michael, if you put a pale pink in the top of that sky behind the on the other side of the river, it would change the whole atmosphere, and the fog could have a pink little purpley like that's in the lavender
Absolutely.
haze on it. Oh my God, that is like, I'd want to live right there.
And it is a beautiful place. Yeah. Oh, I'm echoing. Do you guys hear that?
No,
Somebody's mic is open and it's too loud, so it's bouncing back through their speaker into, that's what's happening.
All right. Cool. All right. So back to Linda's picture here. So again, love, love, love the sky. Like even if this photo was only a reference of a sky that I could use in another design. Otherwise, if I were to come in here, what we have now is a 50-50 split almost of land and sky. So I'd probably want to kind of figure that out because it's mostly about the sky. That's again, takes me to my edit tool. It's mostly about the sky. Man, maybe we're just gonna have a lot of tall verticals. Like already that feels better to me.
Yeah, looks very nice.
right.
Yeah, something like that. Just, you know, when in doubt, take it out, right? If it's not helping, it's hurting. Two of
Okay,
most
my
useful
question is,
tools.
there's so much in the middle.
What's the middle here?
Yeah, I mean, they say don't put things in the middle, although we
Okay,
all
yeah.
do, but
Right, like the split of these mountains is now
it's
right
in the middle. Mhm.
Right, so let's go to a 1x2 and see if we can fix that. Because again, this is an easy size to buy. We all gone to the art store and saw a 1x2 format, right? So all I have to do now is figure out, you know, okay, now if that's the case, does it look better moved this way with the sky going off the edge? Or is that sky so cool? I want to keep it, move this over to the edge. So yeah, if the middle, and I agree with you, it just looks, you know, it looks too balanced, right? With
Well,
this being right.
That's where the sun set that day. The sun moves along the horizon, and that's my whole point of morning and evening photographs, is just to watch where the sun sets. And right, you see that right where your arrow is was the last little touch of the sun going up down the hill, across behind the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. And I don't want to move the sun. I just want to move the focus of this image. So again, I'm looking at these crossbars.
So,
Go ahead.
why don't you, when you're painting, just move the hills? Keep the sky
Right.
and just
move
move
the hill.
move the hills.
Love it. Yeah, like I might even lower this hill so it hits, you know, down here. And all of a sudden it's not, or yeah, whatever it is, move one of
Then
these
you'd
hills.
have to invent something for where that hill was.
Behind it, you mean?
Yeah, because it looks like it's sort of plain underneath.
Yeah. Yeah, you can bring some of these nice little glowy clouds that we see, you know, bring a couple lower. Yeah, if you just took this hill and made it a little smaller, or, you know, you could theoretically make this one bigger. But yeah, those are all tools that I'm constantly using is, you know, move everything. Nothing is, you know, and Linda could, you know, be a stickler and be like, no, because that's the view from where I was sitting and how it was that day. But the truth is,
No, I won't.
nobody's gonna know, right?
Yeah, I paint them and I change the shapes of the mountains to suit my fancy.
And there you go. So that would be, you know, what I would do, you know, maybe I might make it bigger.
I'm going to build myself a little platform that I can crawl up about 4 feet and look over the fence and over the brush and get a better view.
Perfect.
Would you do
Yeah.
anything with the foreground?
Yeah, I mean, I would get rid of these posts.
Yeah, but besides that,
I'd
light,
I'd probably get rid of the building, but a lot of people love human elements and paint them really well. I just don't happen to be one of them. The other thing is, you see this bush here, it's kind of hard to see.
oh, I like it though.
It's nice, right? And it creates this little differentiation to push those hills back. But I would probably bring that bush up so that it breaks this, because it's really close to
Breaks the
being
plane.
touching there. And then you get, you know, a little bit of an odd breakup, so you don't have this really strong, hard line here. You can break it up a little bit. Maybe I'd bring a couple of these spindly branches up. You know, who knows? I might even bring some of these up. But that's all personal taste. And again, if it's, you know, if it's something that interests you like it does to me, I'm always looking for a path or a trail or something to get us in it. A lot of times it's just contrast. It's not like you could actually walk on it. It might just be there's a line of shadow on the edge of bushes, you know, and they doesn't have to be a strong straight line, but I you know, I might just push the shadows. Let's see if I can do that with my markup tool and just get it black here. So
There are pathways between the creosotes and the mesquites.
oh, totally, yeah. All your animals out there. Don't know why it's not drawing. Yes, please mark it up. I don't know. But anyways, I was just going to draw some dark shadows into this area to kind of lead us through. Maybe I would just get rid of this bush and let there be a cleanliness, or I'd make it smaller, whatever else. And again, a lot of paintings don't need lead-in lines really strongly. That painting can exist in it. Yeah, that makes sense, you guys?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. All right, here's a little more of a midday, everyday kind of beautiful clouds. Love the light. The hillside here is right kind of in the middle, almost balanced in the middle. You have power lines, a couple signs, couple fence posts. Power lines can be fantastic, especially when they have a little bird sitting on top of them there. Look at that little happy guy.
Yeah. There he sits.
Yeah, you know, so power lines and stuff I actually will sometimes use, and I'll use fence posts a lot too as guiding lines. I just don't like metal, you know, posts personally. I would probably turn them into old wood, you know, put some lean on them, make them look like they've been there for a while.
Michael, I put that there so the stupid utility man wouldn't run over my sewer system. I'm
Yep.
sorry, I'm down on men today.
No worries, no worries. So yeah, this painting or this photo. So let's just do it as a group here. So what is the most interesting thing in here?
Sky.
This
The light on the ground.
Soft colors.
What's
Soft
that?
color.
I can hear you saying something, Graham, but I can't quite understand it.
Soft colors.
Soft colors, yeah. So that's kind of, yeah. And you know, one person said the sky, the other person said the light on the ground. I do love the light on the ground, but I think for me, and it looks like how Linda, you know, framed it, it's probably a little more about the sky. But you're right. So I want to write those notes of like what's interesting. I love the colors in the foreground, but I do think the sky is kind of the thing. You know, again, I can decide on the image. I'm just going to do a 4x5 because that's a really common size for panels. 3x4 and 4x5s are the most common. You know, that's your 8x10, 11x14, 16x20, 9x12, 12x16, all those 16x20, all those 30x40, 36x48, all are kind of within those parameters. I used to paint a 4x5 all the time, and now I paint closer to a 3x4 more often.
and this is morning light,
Yeah,
and that's dust on the horizon. But
it's gorgeous. I love that golden glow. I love this soft light here. For me, I think just cropping it, I mean, already this feels much more interesting, and it's amazing that we can almost counterbalance this big hill hill shape with having an interesting tree light, you know,
Nice
this,
tree.
yeah, this kind of sky holes and different interest and color combinations in there. We've got this nice movement within the clouds. These bushes are so easy to move around and kind of create some kind of a little bit of a pattern, but we still want to keep it organic and natural, right? Unless you want to pretend you're in some desert garden.
Beautiful photo.
Yeah, it really is. And there's so many options. I mean, you can just take this 3x4.
I'd want to move that. It's again a cute tree, the one on the left. I'd move it over to the down for. I bring it forward on the left.
This guy here.
No, over on the
Yeah,
left.
the one-
The
Oh,
taller,
left, this one.
that one. I'd move him forward, make him bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, I would be tempted to almost make him my focus with these other elements.
That'd be cool.
Tree that the guys tore up was bigger than that one and more beautiful.
So
You've got a
sad.
lot of great tree photos though in your collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So
And-
anyways, this is the thought process that goes through my head a lot of the times. And a lot of times, let's get to some that are a little rougher. Linda's are easy on us. We're ready for advanced.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody here's like, well, I wish I could take these photos. Right. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you guys could, everybody on here is welcome. Come spend a few days.
All right. So here's a great thing, an idea, because where Linda is, she gets really, you know, especially for somebody in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of things we don't see very often. Really odd light effects because you have this combination of dust and, you know, the possible rain coming from above that's not even hitting the ground, and, you know, these really interesting sunsets and effects. You know, again, if I saw this, I would have to stop the car, pull over, take a bunch of photos. But when I got this home, I would be like, I do not know what to do with this. I don't understand these super dark rays. I mean, I understand them, but then they get light right before they hit the earth because there's dust that's thicker down there that's catching the light. But it's so many weird things going on here that this may be one where I just go, you know, thank you, art gods, for showing this to me and allowing me to be present and see it. And, you know, here's a photo that's a really cool photo. Maybe it's not a painting. Or I might think of ways like, okay, what if these light rays weren't as dark as the clouds themselves, right? You know, everybody loves fingers of God, like the light rays shining through, right? Not always easy to paint. A lot of times they can be overbearing and personal note here. I think that they can become kind of generic. I think they've been overused in, you know, and inspirational posters and things like that. But at the same time, I sure do love them and will throw them in from time to time in my paintings.
This was what this kind of photograph is when I would be counting on whatever written note I had made, because there maybe the landmass there is a lot more interesting than we can see in this photograph.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is where Linda takes, what do you take? Probably 15, 20 photos every single day.
Yeah, or more. And
So
this is
she
the
doesn't have
tail
to
end of the
rely on
dust
this
one.
foreground. It could be a whole different foreground, right? From one of her other photos.
And Michael, the first picture that you looked at was the same view, and this was the tail end of a dust storm.
That's right. Those are those hills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just things like this that are so gorgeous and so inspirational. You know, here living in Oregon, we have a really famous mountain called Mount Hood, which you can see from, you know, almost everywhere. Beautiful, big, snowy mountain. And it gets these really crazy, because it's so tall, it gets these really weird cloud formations where like it creates its own little weather systems. And, you know, the photos are always fun. And when you take them, people always comment on Facebook and stuff. But when people try to paint them, there's one cloud formation that happens semi-regularly that looks like a saucer or a bowl upside down sitting on top of the mountain. It just creates this little weird dome on top. And people love sharing that photo when they see it online. but a painting, I just can't picture it, right? It looks really silly and artificial and weird. There's other times where all of a sudden the mountain is backlit by the sun, and the mountain has these sun rays coming around it on every side. And again, it's spectacular and it looks magical, but I just think that sometimes some things are better left as a photo, possibly. Not saying you wouldn't do this, but the thing that's so exciting about this is this real weird drama right here. And I'm just not positive I would paint that.
I tried, it didn't work.
No, yeah, I remember the struggles.
I
Yeah.
know, it was hard.
I
Yeah, what do
find
you
that
guys
some
think?
pictures would make a better photograph than a painting, and some
Yep.
pictures would make a better watercolor than another kind of painting, because the
Absolutely.
colors are so soft and transparent. So it's just something that I notice sometimes that, well, if I were a good watercolorist, that would be a good painting.
And some images make better small paintings and some make better big paintings. It's really, yeah, it's such a strange thing. All right, now we're going to get to some difficult ones here. So Lisa, are you here? Let me see if I can make it so I can see who's actually here.
Yep, I'm here.
There's Lisa.
All right, so Lisa was very kind to include some very challenging images here. All right, so are you in, well, this is in English. Where are you at? Is this in downtown Portland?
No, that's in Seattle.
Oh, in Seattle. Okay. So, yeah,
There's
I mean, it looks like you could have been in Asia, but then all of a sudden I see these English signs.
Yeah, well, there were just this amazing light coming through the leaves, and then I didn't even think about it, but I caught the prayer flags because there's this Buddhist monastery down the street. It just kind of was together, and I was like, ah, that's so cool. But would that make any sense? Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. I want to hear a couple people respond to this. Would anybody paint this as is?
No,
Not as is, but if you isolate the left-hand corner, you would have a beautiful green, almost abstract painting. The greens are just luscious.
Aren't they?
If
Yeah.
I did abstract, yes, but
So that's what
I
I
don't
was
do
hoping you guys
abstract.
would say, is I see this as an abstraction.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, I mean, you don't see the ground, you're looking kind of up a little bit. It's like, it just, there's so many things that are awkward. Like, I don't understand the angles of the buildings, like how it's receding into space. I feel like this must be down, like dipping down below the ground level. It's a really interesting picture, but what it does have, just like Graham was saying, is gorgeous colors.
Yeah.
And really interesting lighting effects. A lot of times when I'm taking photos like through leaves and different things, I'm literally taking them for just notes on color, notes on how light works, these beautiful contrasts of these cool greens and these warm greens or transparent.
And my
illuminated
background is
greens.
abstract, so that would be.
Sometimes you paint for people's mementos, for the people who go to that temple or whatever it is. They would understand this, even if it was painted just straightforward.
Right.
They
right.
would know it and love it because
That's a
it's
good
something
point.
they, and I think landscape painting, you have that duality of, are we more in love with this painting because we love that kind of scene? Or are we more in love with that painting because the painting itself is so beautiful that it
Yeah.
almost doesn't matter what it's of?
I think that's so important to remember, that paintings can be subject based, they can be design based, they can be color based, right?
Yep.
You know, a lot of hunters are just like, I love the painting because there's an elk or a duck or, you know,
Yeah.
in it, you know, and other people are like, don't want to see another elk painting. And other people are just like, I love color so much. I mean, if you just painted this even fairly close, but loose and gesturally, and it just looked like this, again, an impression of the scene, I think it could be just vibrant and dramatic and exciting. And it would definitely stop people, you know, when they're going again from painting to painting to painting on the wall. And sometimes it's fun to try to figure out what the heck you're looking at and why the angle is different. And you know what I mean? People like a little bit of a
Yep.
challenge. I personally would use this as a reference. I love the fact that it's got these transparent and opaque colors. You know, that's a lot of fun, especially if you're a watercolorist. Boy, oh boy, what a crazy challenge that would be.
I like that
Graham.
view of the prayer flags.
Yeah, the prayer flags. You know, of course, the sign is really interrupting, the sign hiding back here, you know, but there's artists that leave these things. So, you know, everything I say, completely disregard it if it's not your aesthetic or, you know, the way, but it's just, I can show you how I would approach a painting or a photo and begin to think about it. So yeah, my first instinct would be to see if there's a crop in here that I could make work, even if it doesn't completely make sense. So my favorite things are the prayer flags and the contrast of the leaves, right?
Yeah.
Already I like it better, even though it's
Yeah.
lost a lot of information.
Yep.
Right? Maybe a little counterbalance over here. Right?
Mhm.
It's still super odd and super weird. Gustav Klimt had a couple paintings where he just had lots and lots and lots of leaves coming down. Bernie Fuchs has
Yeah.
some really beautiful paintings that it's like about this person sitting on the beach, but 90 or 80% of the painting is just the big tree leaves on top of them, you know, that you're looking through to see them.
Yeah.
So there's no golden rule, which would sure make teaching easier and painting way more boring, right? So you get to anything I say, the opposite is just as valid, right? But this sure would be a difficult one. I would have also taken the photo, but I wouldn't paint it. But I would probably use it as inspiration, or, you know, I would really zoom in. I mean, that's way too much color for me. I wouldn't paint that, but it's, you know, for people who love color, I think, again, for a watercolorist or a gouache painter, this could be a super fun challenge. But yeah, I think this is a beautiful, worthwhile photo with a lot of interesting information, but not something I would paint. Are you actually thinking about trying to tackle something like this? Don't let me talk you out of it.
Yeah, I just don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I do want to use elements of it.
Okay.
But I mean, not as a painting of that
That
scene.
particular scene, yeah. All right, so Graham, and this is your photo, correct?
No, that's also mine. Sorry.
That's yours as well. No, that's fine. That's great. So this is the kind of photo that I get like while walking the dog, right? Like, well, you know, going out to get the mail, and I just look and there's something interesting happening. You have this interesting moon, but then you have, you know, a big truck there, a fence, weird lighting where it's, you know, the spotlight from something, maybe a street light or something. Here, you've got kind of nice tree shapes, but at the same time, not quite right. You got power lines. Again, there's a lot of urban artists out there that just do fantastic jobs. And they're constantly, like, every painting I see of theirs, I'm just like, I would have never painted that. And I love what they've done so much. They're just brave, or it just comes from repetition. And, you know, I'm always out trying to get as far from people as I can. And they're right there painting amongst the people and everything else.
They
So,
would paint that truck, they would bring that out.
totally, yeah. All the different things, right?
That's kind of like what I did in my homework from the other week, the raindrops one. I put a little car in there. I find it really nice to paint these human elements, because there's something about it where it's like, I'm not painting a person, but I'm painting kind of these like ghostly spaces where the people should be. And that kind of gets that solitude feeling for me.
Yeah, yeah. And it does, like I just said, like you're painting with people or painting the people, but it's human elements, but it's also a kind of lonely painting, right?
Yeah, but it also is a mysterious painting, because if you're closed in so that you didn't see the roadway, but you leave the truck and the truck is not totally clear, but it's the kind of thing that then your eye will eventually wander. It'll go from the moon and the beautiful sky and the beautiful trees, and then you gradually get down there to that thing, that red, and you'll go, what is that?
Right.
I paint a lot of these sort of things actually, like without any of the road or the fence or anything, and it'll just be these little touches. And I do a lot of them on round canvases as well, because I feel that that is this extra disorienting aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like we should understand, and our brain just sort of fills in those little dots and the gaps.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 I call them almost like slice of life paintings. My friend Brenda Boylan is really good at this, and I have a couple other friends that will just like, they're kind of like the urban sketchers, right? Where they just go down and they'll take their sketchbook and they'll just do these little slice of life, you know, cafe scenes, but you know, even a little bit different. And I like that. It's just not my, I actually kind of like now with that little hint, like,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's mysterious, sort of borderline creepy, but beautiful. And
Yeah, strange.
It's a pretty picture.
yeah, but it's this lost edge, right? It's kind of lost edge on the truck. Like you don't see the top of the truck, you don't see the top of the building, you don't see the top of these trees. The power lines are actually kind of a nice addition. You know, might be fun to, I don't know, that's probably getting silly, but like throwing in a cat or at something, or, you
Wing
know,
it.
a possum. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. So if I were to paint it, I think this would probably be my design. I kind of like this off center kind of counterbalance, not putting, you know, because my instinct would be to, the moon is the focus. Okay, so there it is, you know, and all of a sudden it gets really, right? Like this could be kind of a nice painting, but it's so much darkness, you know. What if we just zoom in, you know, and that's a lot of times how I'll start. Okay, what made me take this picture? If it was me, it was the colors in the sky and the cool moon. But, you know, if it was Lisa, it might have been that she was seeing this cool, interesting, ethereal edge quality. So yeah, I guess, why
No,
did you take this
it
photo?
was the sky and the moon.
Okay. So yeah, if we were to do that, right? Right. Okay, put it in a focal area. Focal area. It still doesn't
You
work.
could tilt it.
Totally, yeah. I can.
The other way. I would go the other way, but
Vertigo.
it's for you.
Yeah, it looks
Not
like
too
how you
far.
might wake up the next morning if you're
Right in, yeah, close there. Just
um,
On the ground.
yeah. So what I do with these photos, Lisa, is just like I was talking about Linda's clouds and stuff, is I just take this information and I would probably find a better foreground silhouette, more interesting trees, buildings, whatever, power lines, whatever it is. I just, you know, I would take those colors, you captured those, and that's a beautiful palette. And I would just put that on top of a different design.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, but I do think there's lots of artists out there who could paint something like this, and it would be just kind of awesome. And I would be like, I would never paint that. You're awesome. Okay, where do I want to go? Close this. All right, thanks for well, you have one more really challenging one here. Yeah, all right, so Lisa, don't say anything. Which painting does this look like to everybody?
Yeah.
Sunday in the park.
Yeah, is that Surratt? Yeah. All you need is a monkey. Yeah, so again, maybe Lisa, maybe you're onto something. Maybe you have like a real, like you have an abstracted nature like to you in your photography, because yeah, it's so interesting. It's got a little bit of a car park. It's got some people in the close-up right in the corner. Looks like stuff's going on here. I think you probably took the photo because of the light on the trees. I like that this guy's just sitting here talking to the tree. He really likes the light on that tree. You know what I mean? It's so abstract, and then this huge tree shape. Yeah, it is like it to me. I'm just like, cool. You got this nice information that you could use somewhere else. But at the same time, as I look at it, I'm like, pretty interesting, really weird, really off balance, and it keeps me kind of uncomfortable, right?
And
in a weird way.
the one pop of blue from the kid's shirt, and then also we don't even know what they're looking at.
Right. Yeah, the volleyball, you can see a volleyball net, but they're not watching that. They're just hanging
Is that
out.
what that is, a volleyball net?
I believe so. Yeah, back
Yeah.
there, that square line. Yeah, there's just so many random things. You know, a monkey wouldn't be out of place in this picture.
Well, it
But
did
let's look
remind
at
me
our,
of that painting so much. I was just like, what the heck?
I'm not sure why it's not letting me draw. Oh, okay, there we go. So let's look at our guiding lines. You know, you have that line, you have this line, you got these strong horizontals, and then you have the horizon line, and then you have this line. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking of how is the viewer going to move through this piece, and it really does radiate out from this tree, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you have this focal point here, like you said, that guy definitely stands out. They're, really odd. This just love the guy talking to the tree.
There's a touch of blue down the sidewalk there that you could bring out a little bit
Right.
between the two trees.
Yeah, I think Lisa, you were asking about like adding water.
Well,
something like
yeah,
that?
there's a beach actually. And so I was thinking of even making it like just bringing the beach farther up where the guy in blue, the bright blue shirt is, and I don't know, just maybe.
Yeah, for me, so okay, let's just do that real quick. We'll get through as many as we can here. Like,
Or
okay, so the cars probably aren't necessary. And my initial instinct is like, oh, we could put the water where the cars are because there's not much going on besides cars.
Then they're
But then
looking.
everybody's like, we hate that water. Let's look away from it. Don't pay attention to the water. It's dumb.
Except the one guy.
Yeah, except for that one guy. I see you, water. Yeah, so then it would become something like this. And all of a sudden my tree's not in the center of my photo, right? It's a little off. We've got a little better kind of balance, counterbalance. And then, yeah, I don't know if you just make that land mass back there, like that line down, kind of water. I don't know if you just ditch these figures. It's kind of interesting having somebody in the foreground like this.
No, you bring the clients. Those are the clients.
Yeah, exactly. But then they're like, oh, my hair wasn't beautiful. Yeah, something like, these kind of figures kind of are nice lead-ins.
Yeah.
Something like that. I feel like that's a much better crop.
Yeah.
Whatever you decide to do, it's still such an odd painting. Last time I was out painting with one of my favorite painters, Amy Erickson, she put the tops of, there was these, we were at my family cabin, and she painted a beautiful view of the trees and the water. And then she just puts if I can draw still, where's my drawing tool? She put the tops of the backs of the trees right there in the foreground. And just like those plastic chairs,
Yeah, she likes
like, what a crazy thing. Like, I would have totally just skipped those, right?
She's a shape master, Amy Erickson.
Is. And she's just so good. And she painted them so they don't draw a huge amount of attention, but just well enough that anybody who's seen those stupid cheap plastic chairs, knows exactly what it is. And I was like, it's so yeah, I just was so proud of her. Again, there's so many of these, we get into our own rules, right? When it comes to design and balance and things. And when you see somebody breaking it really well or doing something way out of left field that you wouldn't do, I just love that. So, these figures in the foreground, even though they're looking out, that's totally you don't want anything in your corner because that draws attention, right? You don't want things that are looking right out of the scene because they're going to lead the viewer's eyes out of the scene. But sometimes that's really cool and really weird and really interesting. So, yeah. What I want you to do, more importantly than to say this rule, that rule, is to question all of it. are you putting it in with purpose, with, you know, an idea? All right, getting back to easier world here. Right, so this is another just a beautiful scene. Whose picture is this one?
Darlene, I think.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh yeah, and she's not here. Well, hopefully she gets a chance to watch this. All right, so right here, beautiful clear creek, beautiful light coming through the trees. Love the reflections and the little bit of, you know, transparency in the water. I really like this. Like this one's a fight. Like, okay, is this about the water or is it about the trees? Is it about both? Should it be about both? You know, because it is a pretty much so always got to go to the edit tool here.
Even.
Very even, yes, thank you. Yeah, the halfway mark, I'm guessing if I go to the crop button will show me. Yeah, so this is our middle line. So it's almost half and half, right?
Yeah.
Like the horizon line's basically right in the middle. Right, so if I go to draw that in there.
This is the kind of picture I would insert into another picture. You know, just like, because that reflection is fun. So I would,
Right, yeah, it's beautiful.
I would
She
just
said,
take a little, chop off some of this and stick it in some other scene that needed.
Some element to it, yeah.
she
All
said
right.
it's so busy. She's intimidated by all the detail.
So busy. Those little spindly trees, there's, yeah, I mean, there's this creek that I stop at and paint a lot. And yeah, there's just so many trees, and it becomes very much a stripy pattern, right? If we just,
I would be tempted to, where that lovely light is, there's a tree to the right. I'd be tempted to remove that and have a path leading through to the back of the woods.
Ooh, right.
Just lead you into the picture. Otherwise, it's sort of a bit up and down and across. It doesn't
Yes,
go anywhere.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the light's almost helping us with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so first thing I would do, let's just, again, we're just gonna pick a 4x5. And the reason I picked a 4x5 versus a 3x4 is it's just slightly more closer to a square shape. So you get a little more height with it. I could also do it this way, and which is I'd probably paint this as a vertical. And already I'm getting, you know, different edits. Is it about the water? Is it about the trees? Still a little big. And if we're going to go with the path, yeah, and I don't know if I would do more water. I would probably do more because the water is beautiful, but it's really quite dark, isn't it?
Yeah. But you could put a little more of that blue in those reflections at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's a really bright place to the right.
Yeah. So that would be what I would do there. And I would definitely come through and cut down about a half of my forest. Or I would even merge some of these to be bigger, so they're not all just spindly trees, you know, so there's variation in shape and size. It's busy. And I have so many photos like this too, where I love dappled light. I love clear water creeks. I love trees. And yeah, you get the photo and you're just like, that is like a 1,000-piece puzzle, 2,000-piece puzzle. You know, how do I simplify it? What do I want to focus on? So I'm going to go ahead and skip through this unless anybody has anything else. Maybe we can revisit with Darlene.
I think that's a good one right there.
All right. I should have saved it, except for we'll save it and make Darlene help
And
us.
I'm wondering if you couldn't, push that spot where the lightest tree is, open that up and lead back into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Like clear this guy out.
See the light tree right below your cursor, that really white spot, that white bush down right there.
Oh, that's just where the light is, I think. But...
Right. Why couldn't you open that up and lead that back into the woods?
Yeah, I think that's what
Yeah.
Beverly was saying, is kind of create even a bit of a path. Like
Correct,
you could
because you can
almost
see
it.
the,
Just the
you can,
light.
yeah, you can see the light. Your cursor just followed that light curve back. And I
Yeah.
think you could do something with that to salvage this.
Well, yeah, and it tells a story, right? It's
Yeah,
the
then it
trail,
tells a story. Mhm.
path to the creek, you know. Yeah, I think that would be wonderful. And that's what I would probably want to do too, is, you know, then all of a sudden you combined these. So it's a little bit of a dirt to the path or some stones. And then all of a sudden it's not just this line.
How about
Right.
cutting off the whole top half?
Yeah, I was actually gonna say that bottom right
Yeah,
corner where you
start
can
from where the soil, where the dirt is, or whatever it
yeah,
is, stones. Start there, that.
Yeah,
that
it's
right
beautiful.
there, those rocks going up almost like a path,
Different.
and that little branch coming out, that would be what I would want to focus on. Getting those reflections to be maybe moving in the opposite direction a bit more, like point them down towards the left and have that branch coming up to the
Yeah,
top
I'd
left.
probably get rid of the little
Yeah.
muck here,
No, I do a
or
hard,
use the
hard
one.
crop.
Yeah.
I do a hard crop and just get right where the stones, from the stones down, and then I put a pair of boots.
Oh,
There you
I
go.
love that.
Yeah, plus once we don't have the trees, because if I did all this lightning, and that's why I kind of left some trees, is watch, they'll just bleach out, but now we can see into the water.
Yeah, and that would become like this periwinkle lavender kind of a color. And you can even see where those rocks are. There's this orangey gold and there's a bit of pink, and like there's so much color just in that little corner.
Yeah, and here we can
Oh.
push the color.
That's a
Again,
beautiful,
the
beautiful.
sky, the forest becomes psychedelic, but the
Yeah.
water, because of its calmness, we can actually really push that.
Yeah, and that's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
That blue is
That's
just
the best one.
popping.
And what's fun about water, you know, is everybody kind of understands that I can really sharpen it just so we can see what's really going on. I wouldn't paint it that way. Here's really blurry. So, you know, probably somewhere in between.
But we all
Just-
also have the things that we love, and I adore painting water.
Right, right.
And I know people out west that just adore painting red rock.
So here, let's edit that again. Let's get rid of our psychedelic forest.
There it is.
Wow.
Yeah, and whether or not, you know, because this is probably people put these rocks to kind of be able to walk across, you know, whether you leave that or, you know, I personally, even though I love this color spot and this ripples, you know, I might be tempted to do something more, even in line with something like that.
You're a king of yellow.
Yeah, do love my yellow.
Now that right there could be upside down or right side up, but it's interesting.
Right. So
It
yeah,
looks- it has shadows. I realize now that you've done this close-up, there are shadows on there. Those dark streaks are the shadows of the trees, not the reflection.
yeah, not the reflections, but the shadows are coming across at an angle.
Yeah.
So you get these hints of a triangular line. Yeah, really interesting. And I do, after I've taken all the beautiful big pictures when I'm out on a hike of the creek and stuff, I will definitely start zooming in at different aspects of the creek. Yeah, I'll see if I
Really
can find
pretty.
some. I've got some really interesting ones. So let's save it to share with. So again, I just save them, I just change one number in them. So that way when we go back, oops, I don't know where I just saved it to. Should have been here. Anyways, they should have saved right behind it. So I'll see if I make sure I'm saving it to the right spot next time. So this is a photo I took in Italy that I shared with Cheryl. Cheryl just commented that it's too dark, but when you lighten it, it gets weirder.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah. And that is a tough one because you know, you take the photo so you can actually see the sky. You can already see that it got bleached out. You know, I probably wouldn't paint this pure white in here, just knowing how nature is. But I love this kind of pink building here, you know, hinting at some of the villages. I like this different motion of the hills as you're going down the hill, up the hill, back down the hill, up the hill, down the hill. And if
You
you're
can
lucky,
make
you
that a daytime picture, I guess.
I guess, yeah. I mean, you could. So let's just do a quick edit on color. It is a little tougher.
What is wrong with this? Why would you not just make a huge painting?
I'm not sure what kind of light I'd put in it because it doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right.
I think that gorgeous chateau or house down there just needs some kind of light on it, you know, to bring it in, and that would be really pretty. Just
A light in the window.
Yeah, it could definitely be something like that because it is sunrise. So, you know, the farmer's waking up or the, I don't know, whatever that guy does, picks olives, olive farmer. Because these are all olive trees here in the foreground on this hill. So you'll see if we wanted to lighten this up, I would just go to brightness, correct, or exposure. And what happens is our sky goes away really quickly. So I already know that if I want to get in here and start working with this, I'm probably going to have to do 2 printouts or 2 copies because my sky is going to go away.
Okay.
So, you know, that's a big learning lesson is like, yeah, sometimes we don't get to work from one reference, you know, especially when we're doing big adjusting, like I want to get into the darks here. Another thing I can do though, is there's an option here for highlights or shadows. And there it lets you lighten them individually. So it's not, you saw the sky didn't get bleached out. So I can bring up my shadow information and I can even darken my sky a little bit so I retain some of that. And then what I want to do is go to my contrast, and it's going to work on the contrast of the whole image. And then I can bring out some of the darker and lighter areas in this hill. So all of a sudden I can still see the shapes, because if I go low contrast, it all gets, you know, it just gets washed out. I go super
And they
high.
kind of disappeared in the original.
Exactly, because it's all kind of a close to dark. So what we've done is we've lit up our shadows, and then I'm pushing the contrast within that area again. Does that make sense?
It's really nice.
Yeah.
So that's just,
Kind of
again,
balances the sky and the house.
right, a little bit, yeah. You know, and then I can just play with any of these. If I really want to be able to see things, I don't usually paint at a high sharpness, but I do know artists that do. But they usually have strong, crisp edges. Yeah. So there you go. Look how quickly we're getting through these. All right, so another one. This kind of reminds me of the moon and the truck painting, right? A little bit. Just kind of got this thin passage for us. All right, Graham, so this is your photo, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me why, what do you like about it, or why did you add this to it? Or are you just torturing me?
Well, this is a Sauvie Island photo.
Okay.
I like the difference between the dark foreground and the light background and the distance that you can get into this if you made a painting with atmospheric perspective. I also like road scenes. So I'm not sure if I would even attempt this because it's, but it's so beautiful. I mean, when I was there, I was just stunned by this view. So that's why I took the picture, but
great.
Not sure how I would approach painting that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay, so when I go to the edit tool, oh, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely. When you go to the edit tool, we're going to see that it's literally half this big mess, even more than half.
Yeah. So I cut out
a lot. That's a lot to give to this that I find to be not really interesting.
Agree.
A lot of information. So And it's also, these are just so dense. I think like if they were a little more open, like maybe some sky hole, or vineyard holes, I guess in this instance, where we can see through it might be interesting. My instinct is to make the focus, the opening, a little
Definitely.
more prominent.
Okay.
That's, what size are we thinking? 3x4, right? You're doing a 30x40s now, or do you
Oh,
want a 12x12
square.
or square? Let's look at squares. Squares are tricky. So it's still a lot of shrubbery, but again, that makes the opening through the tunnel more special.
That's what I was gonna say, reduce it a little bit more.
Yeah, now it looks good.
I'm trying to decide if having a little air up here is helpful, or do we really turn it into like a tunnel form?
Yeah, the shadows on the road are nice. You could all make,
Yeah, exactly.
you could also make this a tall vertical.
Ooh, that's nice.
Because it's kind of a vertical scene.
It can be, yeah. If I get much smaller than that, that's a 2x3. Let's go to a 3x4. There we go. I just want to also make sure that I'm not equally balanced.
Right.
This and this, like you'll see if I put it exactly the same, all of a sudden it's just one shape, then this big shape, and then this duplicating of shapes. In my early painting days, I did that all the time. I called it bookending, where just, it's just the same on both sides. And it felt very balanced, and it was. But I've kind of realized that having it less.
And your horizon line is in the middle.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I kind of like that the tops of the trees are there, but yeah, the horizon line itself. Let's bring that down.
Yeah.
It just feels so much more airy, right? It feels
Yeah, it
so
does.
much
You get
more
rid of a
light
lot of the blobby.
and helpful and hopeful. And that puts our horizon line right at a beautiful spot. It brings these things as close to a focal point. All of
That
a
is
sudden we
good.
have this kind of tree shapes. Yeah, this is a painting that I was kind of like, I don't know if I would touch this one, but now it's feeling like something. And now it's got movement. We have these different lines here. I'm just going to, let me go ahead and save a copy of that one.
That's nice. It's still got the shadows on the road, which I like.
You could
Desktop.
repeat some of those shadows.
Visual story.
There's a pole in the distance and there are little bushes on the edge. So there could be some more little bit of shadows.
Oh, yeah, I think the telephone pole looks
Yeah.
great.
Pole,
Yeah, it is kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not straight, which is nice.
So there, he has a shadow, and then some of those bushes have shadows that you could pretend they were taller and make them a little longer.
All right, so let's look at our lines now. So we've got this, of course, this is your primary angle, right? And then your secondary angle, which is almost straight across here, is just enough interception. And you've got this wonderful post here. Then you've got all these angular leading lines, which I don't want to sketch up too much here. Then we have this really interesting, for those of you who are in my armature class, right? What is this? Steel yard.
Steel yard.
Steel yard, yeah.
I don't know how I just made a straight line. Oh, there we go. Wow, look at you. And then we have a bit of a angle here, which is kind of nice. This looks like all of a sudden it's a pie chart, or not a pie chart, I don't know, some mathematical thing.
Piece of pizza.
Yeah. 1/4 of a slice of pie. 1/4 of a pie. So yeah, all of a sudden now I'm beginning to see, and even with the shadows on the bush, right? They kind of invite us in. You could throw in a sky hole, but that might be getting a little busy. Your focal point kind of becomes in here.
Right.
Right, where your upright and your horizontal line intercept is a great place to have it. And if I go to the crop tool, I bet you we're going to be really getting close to those crossbars. Yep. So that's a perfect spot, you know, in generic art term for so there you go.
I would probably want to break up the leading edge of the dark shadows. Because
Soften
it's
it a
so
little
hard.
here.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, maybe and
Right.
it's after all a bush, it looks like. So there should be a little leaf action, maybe.
Yeah, you definitely could. You could also, you know, just pretend that the sun day, you know,
Yeah,
time
right.
of day is slightly different and that the shadows are a little more of an angle, one way or the other. I maybe even bring them this way.
And being me, I'd add the figure, you know, shadow of a man standing next to
With or without a big knife.
No, I don't go that
Oh, okay.
direction, but I
You're not
definitely
making
add
it scary. Okay.
I like human beings and
Okay.
I'm wondering why the telephone pole doesn't have a shadow across the road.
yeah, really.
It does. It's right there.
That was very faint.
Oh,
I'll have to
yeah,
bring-
you can hardly see it.
Yeah, I have to bring that out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but it's there.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So anyways, I think all of a sudden, because yeah, what you started with, I was just like, I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of big dark tree. 55% big dark tree.
What is that at the top of the telephone pole in the background? Is that a rooftop?
Yeah, there's a building back here, I think. Just because of the straight line, it looks like maybe a chimney. And then there's a dead big white tree above that, which I'd probably get rid of because otherwise it's stacking.
Yeah.
That building could be another tiny little opening out into another field.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, you could do something like that, or just give it a lit side to make it, you know, yeah, I don't know. You can move it over just a touch so they're not, you know, literally. I don't know. You can do lots of stuff, but you have this great focal area to decide something fun to do. All right. Thank you.
Very good.
I do not know where they're saving.
It says at the top, I think it's one, if you go one thing back to visual storytelling, I think they're there. I believe I noticed that
I'm saving them.
they're
to the
in
wrong
there
spot.
somewhere.
Look at all these pictures I've chose for you guys to look at some point during class.
Great.
But now we get to look at yours, which is even better. I'm not seeing them. Yeah, what did I do?
There, I mean, isn't there? Well,
It's all right. It's in my head.
One more quick peek.
Is there a thing where it says date, you know, where you can click on the date of modification and it'll bring up what you just did? Sort by date, maybe?
Maybe under details. No.
but it might take the original date.
Right. Well, that is the folder there, today's date at the top.
Yeah, but these are starting at 9/16. I go into here. Goes to that one. So all the modified ones are in there. Huh, I just don't know why we're not seeing them. But I also have an error up here, which I don't know. I'm afraid it's going to go, you need to update. And then we'd spend the rest of the class watching that little bar move across my computer. So,
Let's not say we did.
all right, here. This is a tricky one.
Wow.
Would expect nothing less from Cheryl. What do we do here?
Those buildings over behind, right about where your cursor is, maybe a little to the right. I stayed over there too.
Oh yeah, there you are.
Somewhere over there, yeah.
Where is that?
It's near Luca. It's in the hills on the west side of Luca.
Okay,
in
so you're
Italy.
really close to where my other photo is from. That's funny.
Beautiful.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. It's a beautiful memory, obviously. I mean, I know that Cheryl sat in that recliner with a glass of wine and met a new friend and had a great time and probably took a lover and
No, I don't think so. Linda Camerata, this was one of Kat's
Yeah.
painting lessons.
okay. Okay. So are you thinking about painting this?
I would love to, but I can't wrap my head around what to do with it.
Yeah,
I could make 2 or 3 paintings out of it if,
yeah, because instantly
yeah,
I
something
love
in
that.
there.
Right, yeah. I don't love the square shape here. That's probably what's taking me out of it the most. But it's not like it's a horrible thing, and that's a beautiful old fence and stuff. You know, of course, I'd probably want to fix the cushions.
Oh, well, yeah.
And then you also have a triangle here where this tree leans in and this bush leans in.
Mhm.
You have this, so you've got a lot of triangles kind of pointing us off the scene here. The tree could be nice. I personally would either do something much more interesting or get rid of this. I would get rid of the garden bed over here that's not doing much yet. So yeah, this is a tricky one. And again, it has the beautiful sky. And I can tell whoever took the photos, like, I love the sky, but I also love this memory and I also love this view. And so it does, it feels like 3 different paintings.
Well, I tend to take my photos big so that I can crop them. I've always done that.
Oh, good, great.
But then I
That's
kind of
really
got
good advice.
lost in this.
Yeah, yeah.
Could I just make a suggestion? The fence is nice and old, but it acts like a barrier.
100%.
If the fence was taken away, and perhaps the bush that's near where your cursor was sort of reduced a bit, it would let us into the scenery a bit more. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Totally.
Because you don't want a sort of barrier, so not to let you in.
Right. Yeah, it feels like we're in a cage a little bit.
You could round down.
There's
that.
Italy, but don't touch.
You could round down that far corner where the fence meets the corner.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
make a round curve so that we see this as a slope. Get rid of the fencing. We see this as a groomed slope or just a bare hillock, echoing the one that's down below on the left. If we look down below, there's that little hillocky looking thing.
Yeah.
In the distance. So echo that shape up here. Get rid of the hedge, get rid of all that stuff.
I would just like to know how important is any of this? Like, it is cool, you know, we all want to be sitting there, but okay, I'm just going to go to edit, crop, and I don't even think this is going to work. Let's try a 1x2 or let's try a 2x4. Does it have that option? Does not. Well, I guess that's the same as a 1x2. Good math, sir. Right, like, I just don't know. And now I don't have to make a whole big hillside. I can just make a little bit of a hillside leading down. You know, I could literally just take and make this more naturalistic. You know, some of those. This is neat, but I don't know if I even need that.
Do you have a smudge tool? This would be the moment to smudge all that stuff.
I don't think they have one on this one.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, this is such a basic. No. So let's just keep cropping. But again, those clouds are beautiful, but it becomes the focal point, right? If you have this, it's hard not to look at this.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, now I'm going to change the format because I want more of my sky back. So I'm going to go to a 3x4.
We could just leave those chairs out of there.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want the lawn
Together.
or any of this stuff up here personally.
Or one chair and a table or something. I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
John said, make it another hill rolling down into the valley with these trees that are on the right here where you just touched on. Just reshape those and just take out that humanness, the invasion of human beings out of it.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do. If it, if it were me, I would have walked up to the fence, take my photo from there.
Oh, I
You
did
know,
take that.
What's
I did
that?
do that. I painted that house down there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is where it gets tricky. Again, I've got so many great,
If you,
photos of my experience and different trips and things. And I think this might not make a great painting, but I think
Okay.
elements of it could make a great painting. Beautiful sky, beginning of a beautiful landscape, interesting elements, but beautiful colors back here in the hilltops. Look at that, those purples and soft edges, like almost that.
it's
Is
nice.
something to paint. Maybe bring that building up,
Yeah.
I have a thought.
please.
Well, if it seems that, how some scenes are human related, and she likes the idea of people sitting there looking at the view. So what if, like, someone else said, take away the fence, make it more of a natural setting, with kind of a rolling hill, keep the chairs, keep the sky, and just make it, I was here, or we're sitting there, and keep the chairs and just make it a little more natural of a setting, take the fence out.
That's nice.
Yeah, it feels very weighted to the left side, so I was going to see what happens if
Mm.
we can move it. Yeah, I agree with you, Michelle, but what you are talking about sounds like a lot of work to me. You know what I mean? And I get that with a lot of beginning students when they don't even have photo references to the different elements you're talking about. So they'll have like a really good part of the painting because they can see it, it's in the photo. And then all of a sudden they're making up the other half of it. And you can literally tell night and day between these two things. So I'm always worried about that. So yeah, I don't know what I would do here in this painting. I probably wouldn't paint this image, but I may, unless I did a super crop like this. And like you said, you have other photos.
Yeah,
of
I
the-
have daytime photos of down at that other level.
well, then use those photos and this photo combined. So you can use your
Okay.
colors, your lighting, your sky, everything that's wonderful about this without all the parts that we don't like. So we talked about that last week. Remember the path down to the beach that I painted as a demo? Remember I said I love the silhouetted trees, but then I wanted to make sure I could see the information. So I actually went back the next day and took a photo so I could see into the darks.
Okay.
Yeah, that
It's
one
just
I knew.
every time I go by this picture, I have to stop and look.
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't know what to do with it.
Print
So
it out, put it in a frame. Remember all the good times.
yeah, that's true.
Or let's see what your daytime photos, if you find a couple that you really like the design that we can't incorporate some of the elements, really beautiful. Well, disregarding. There's something about Adirondack chairs and recliner chair. Excuse me, got the hiccups. Recliners that are just so calming and beautiful. Really hiccups.
I would take the padding off the chairs regardless. Yeah.
There you go.
We could put Adirondacks there. It would fit.
Ooh.
All right. First thing I would do is straighten her out.
Ooh, I love that one.
Hey, listen, I was on a boat.
It's all right. Easy fix. Yeah, this is another one I've been thinking about after you shared it. So my instinct is just to do that.
Yeah.
Would you leave everything in? Everything.
Probably not this boat.
Okay.
I like the shapes of the top of this hill. I like the buildings. Yeah, maybe I would choose, I don't know.
Small one.
3 boats is better than 2.
Yeah, it's an odd number. Would you bring this other boat down so it's in front of that one that you wanted to take out originally?
You sure
Like,
could.
would you move that boat down and to the right just a bit or something?
Yeah, there's lots of things we could do. And I actually like this big open foreground, the original concept of it. But it's pretty, it's a big wasted space.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the inverse of the big, huge tree that Graham had. Man, excuse me, hiccups. Right? It's just,
But if you moved a boat down there,
yeah, you could definitely, if we were in
just
photo.
make it closer.
All right, shall I? How do I get rid of this crop tool? I was scared to open up Photoshop because oh man, let me get a glass or a drink of water, see if I can get rid of these hiccups.
Michael,
Yeah.
you could hold your breath and spell Engelbert Humperdinck backwards.
Can't spell
Yeah,
backwards.
Yeah,
That's what my students used to tell me.
that's funny. So here, let's select all, Control T. Just gonna straighten it out. There we go. Bump, bump. Now let's find a crop. I'm gonna think something roughly in there. This is the quick and dirty.
I'm still seeing the Microsoft.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that now showing Photoshop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I had it on my wrong screen. Okay. So how am I going to do this? If I just, again, quick and dirty version of this. I'm going to take this boat, copy, paste, and transform. We're now going to have two boats.
That's all right.
So you're thinking kind of over the top, like, so we could really, let me just go ahead and erase his edges here so we can see him clearly.
Well, I think I can handle that.
Nice. Photoshop. Wow.
I might have a photo from the same day with a boat facing the other direction.
Yeah, and you can always, I mean, so now what's fun is I've got this guy.
And put him anywhere. Yeah.
All right. Now he's the biggest boat ever. So you kind of figure out, okay, if he's this big, he's probably about here in space.
Yeah, I think so.
But I can always make him really big. Right. If I put him over here, he becomes very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
If I put him here, I lose the beautiful trees back there. So let's make him a little smaller. Unless you're painting for this owner of this boat, probably won't mind. So yeah, interesting to think about. Probably even make him smaller than that.
That's about right.
Yeah.
I think that's about right. Here, let's, I'm gonna try a trick here. Where's my layers?
I have never figured out how to use layers.
So now I'm on the background layer. So you can see I've got one layer here that's the boat, one layer behind it, and I'm just gonna use some quick cheating. And I'm just gonna ask it to get rid of these boats for me. Yeah. It's going to give me 3 different views of this without the boats. We'll see if it can figure that out. we'll just pretend that AI is not bad for the environment. Boom.
Oh,
One more option, one more option. Oh, I think the first one is
oh,
closest.
oh,
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
yeah.
Here, let's see if we can turn these boats into sailboats.
Wow.
I don't know if it'll do that or not. I've never tried doing that.
Are you having
Yeah,
AI?
AI
do-
is scary and horrible, and at the same, this is all AI doing this for me. We got
Oh,
race
wow.
boats.
Look at that.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, there's a little one in the background, so you have three.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah,
There
it
you
looks nice.
right. And it doesn't feel out of place. And
There goes the electric grid.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'm gonna move away, but yeah, lots of fun things that you could do. I think, yeah, cropping it. I think the sky is really nice. I actually really like these clouds.
Uh-huh.
I like the outline of this hillside. I think there's interesting shapes. I would probably, probably get rid of this tall one and do something more like that or more like this there again, possibly. And then normally a big square right here on the side kind of would bother me, but it actually works as a really nice counterbalance. But here, let's try something. Oh, I'm not in the right layer. So go to the background layer again. And I'm going to try something really weird. Oh, what did it copy? Oh, it's because the boat's still there. Okay.
Yeah, the boat's still there, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to merge my layers. Layer merge visible. Oh, I got to be done with that. Layer merge visible. Now I can copy this.
Wow.
Copy V and Control T for transform. And I'm going to flip that.
And put it over there.
Yeah, and we can make it a little bigger. So maybe it's a little closer.
Wow.
And you
You
have
know
the
it.
Straits of Gibraltar.
Yeah, and I just have to be aware of, my shadows are now on the wrong sides, and it's also mimicking this shape really closely. But,
Yeah, but you can change that.
yeah, well, when I paint things, since I don't paint very well, it's inevitably going to look different. I like that.
Yeah,
And
I
it
do
feels
too.
like this boat's going to go back there. And maybe
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
three guys are racing back there. So yeah, it's fun. You had this really nice initial painting or photo, but there was just some weird things about it. So this just gives us ideas and ways to think about. You got this really straight line here. Maybe I would change the shape of that hill a little bit. But otherwise, pretty great. Could also, if we wanted to pretend that this boat was going really quickly, let's copy.
Like a wake. Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring in this and steal this wake. Copy VT. I'm gonna flip it again. Right, and just as an idea, as kind of a line that could lead us in, a little bit of a wake.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use that, but
No, but still.
just as a reminder. Eraser.
Wow.
Let's Control T it again. Can even change the angle of it a little bit.
Yeah.
So now we have a little
That's
bit of a
about
leading
right,
line. Yeah. And now the boat's got movement. Anyways, fun. And
Thank you so much.
AI is scary. All right, I'm going to go through the last couple really quickly because we're already over halfway through our class. This one,
Wow.
I simply just don't, I think it's beautiful. I simply don't like the stacking of this and this, and everything's on the right side. Everything's on the right side. The only counterbalance is these beautiful little pink thistles, which I really like. The sky is really dramatic, but I also love your foreground, all these beautiful textures and interesting things. So, you know, my instinct, and I'm just going to show you my instinct, and you guys who've been with me already know this, is I love creeks. Okay, there's my focus, right? All of a sudden it feels a little better. I can also open these trees up, you know, make them so they're not just a solid clump, maybe cut down 2 or 3 trees. Here, I'll just grab it. I'm just gonna.
I have another photo of this area that came with, we always do photo circles on these trips. So everybody puts their photos in, and it's from a slightly different angle that puts those trees more to the left or the right.
Yeah. Yeah, either way, I think, and by even just cropping it so it's not so huge, just moving it in, all of a sudden the movement becomes stronger. And all of a sudden, you know, it feels like we're going off. You know, your cars and whatever this is. Oh, that might be a bridge. I thought it was a trailer behind this car. I was like, what? You know, there's lots of interesting little things you can decide, because this road actually, you know, the creek goes like this, and then it looks like it turns back here. But all of a sudden our eye kind of travels up this road, you know, and back through. If we cut down, maybe cutting down even just like this tree, so you have a little bit of a break, and all of a sudden we're moving and we're moving. So yeah, one of the challenges I gave to some of you is doing arrows, and like, how do we want the viewer to move through the picture, right? So it almost like kind of leads me up through here a little bit, but it also primarily is here if I'm just doing arrows. Right? And then it cuts me this way. That brings me back this way. And then to here. Then it's a pretty hard stop. Oops.
Yeah.
Wants to do a
There's
straight
a
line.
tame stag that lives right there. He makes wonderful pictures.
Kind of takes us up through here. I'm not positive how I would do it, but my instinct initially is imagine this area is gone.
Okay.
All of a sudden we have a nice little break here. You know, and if we wanted to do any others, we could. And then all of a sudden that gets us through there. Up here, we also have this angle. Kind of a nice hard stop over here, so we're not shooting off, even though you do have this angle and this angle, which can kind of serve to bring us back. You know, sometimes you could say, oh, it's leading me off, but I also could be thinking that it's leading me back in. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I love the water. Like, I would focus on the water, but that's me. That's my favorite thing about everything.
Well, that's one of my favorite parts of that too. So
copycat.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then, you know, is a hill back here that, you know, we could do some kind of a counterbalance of something. But I don't know if it's necessary, but it still feels very weighted to the right, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gail, what would you do to counterbalance this big shape? Would you get in and clear more trees out? Would you move it?
I might separate one of the trees and make a slight break in it. And I don't like that mountain where it is. So I personally would be the kind of person that likes to move mountains.
Yeah.
And personally, for me personally, there are no mountains in my backyard, so I'd probably erase it and put perhaps more trees in the distance or something like that. And I would also push the clouds, so there was more drama in the clouds.
Yeah, right.
Because I'd want that S curve. I'd want the S curve to lead to the trees, which they do. Break apart the trees, probably where you've got the biggest break on the left, on the left, yeah. To give my eye a rest, and then with the very slightest of suggestion of color, in other words, reflection from the sky and the clouds, move my eye from those trees to the clouds and around the clouds and back again. That would be the path I'd want the viewer to take. Does that make sense? Did I just?
Yeah, it does. It's interesting because the mountain is beautiful and it's so prominent. But yeah, I'm tempted to do the same, or
but you guys
or take out the trees almost.
Right, because you live in a different part of the world. I can't paint a mountain. I don't look at mountains. But I look at a lot of trees in the distance, and because I live on a river and it's flat like this is, I have beautiful, beautiful skies and sunsets. So that's where my personal focus is, because that's my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at a reference photo, whether it's, whether it's Linda looking at a mountain or the mountain person looking at Linda's desert, you have to bring your own experiences into that.
That's a good point.
And that's why they call them reference photos. It's a jumping off point.
Yeah.
If you're painting that exact photo, you're not an artist, you're a photographer.
You know what I would
Well,
do
you're
with
not
those
even an
trees?
artist, you're just copying.
Yeah, exactly.
Gail,
Yeah,
Gail,
because this is beautiful. This areas in the
beautiful.
clouds.
But
Gail,
given where you're from and your palette, you could bring a lot of the pinks from the thistle up into the sky and use little hints of color to move your eye around. I think this is a beautiful photo and has a lot of potential, but I would take a lot of liberties with the trees. And like I said, because I live on a river and I don't have mountains to look at except through your photography, I would probably use more trees or something else in the distance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael, how would it look if you took those trees and made them shorter and in the distance on the left-hand side, and maybe not as many of them to be a counterbalance, and move that lightness that's in the sky up more, I don't know, or just cover it with the trees, but I would just move the trees to the left.
Yeah, that was my initial concept, was to take these trees and put them over here. And, again, I would thin them out just because it's such a solid mass. But again, that's my preference. I love sky holes, air holes. I love, seeing the varied shapes. Yeah, the other thing would be to, keep the mountain here.
Do you experiment with adding a little pink in the sky?
I definitely can, yeah.
I've lived in the north with different shaped mountains. I've driven through Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, all of those places, Missouri, Kansas, you name it. And, there's always some kind of rolling hill or something in the distance. And mountains look different all over the world.
This
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
for
valley
sure.
between two longer mountain ranges, not ranges, but groups of mountains.
I spent about 3 months in British, up north of Vancouver. And I spent some time painting some of those distant mountains, and I was amazed at the complex color that is actually in those, which you never see in photographs. That is so subtle. I mean, when you start really examining each little piece in the distance, and it all adds up to this bluish thing, but it's not really blue.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing what if the hill, just if it's not so strong, I don't know.
I've just done a quick Notan, and I've tried raising the hill on the left so that it leads down to the mountain.
The second one back.
On the horizon, the green
Right.
hill, I've tried raising that a bit and getting rid of the trees. And then, so you don't fall out of the painting, again, given a lift to the hill on the right-hand side, and the very distant mountain, I've taken that right to the edge of the picture so that it actually holds you in, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, how did you do the Notan?
Yeah.
On an app or just drew it really quickly?
I've just drawn it, yes.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I didn't like those trees.
So already that feels kind of more interesting, you know, and again, that was just the computer's idea of what to do, but yeah, I don't know if the trees are even necessary.
I think it looks more sort of almost sort of tundra-like.
Yeah,
as if you're
which I
in nice.
imagine it is, because there's not a single other tree anywhere to be seen.
Yeah. And I rather like the roadway that has a sort of bit of a dip in it that sort of echoes the line of the river.
Right, and it kind of, otherwise it's, everything's on the right.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of, I mean, and again,
And
none
then-
of these are right, none of these are wrong.
Then lots of flowers in the front.
Right, let's just,
You know,
Oh.
I would put sheep on the distant hill or cows or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, there are sheep out there, just not in this particular area.
well, let's see what happens. What is it called? A flock of sheep. Oh, add.
Well, what the heck? Why not a buffalo or two?
Right, yeah. What country are we even in?
We're in Scotland. We're in
No.
Glencoe.
The very, very rare.
That's funny.
Well,
I said a
few
few,
many.
not many.
They're all staring at you like, what'd you do with our trees?
I'll never go to sleep tonight.
All right,
could put
thank you.
some of those red cattle.
Yeah, anyways, yeah, get rid of those. Okay, phew, that was scary.
Maybe you could add a few sheep.
Yeah, you might have to do that creatively.
Yeah.
I was thinking on the hillside and here, not standing in the creek, but anyways, layer merge visible. It's not going to let me. What does it think I'm doing here? Oh, well, it's not going to let me. But anyways, I would probably still edit it to having kind of the flowers even more in the foreground. Something like that, except now our horizon lines move back into the middle. Ugh, man. Cheryl, you pick hard ones.
Sorry.
That's all right. Good challenges. One more here. Old photo. I mean, I can even see that it's been torn and dirty and edges. This is one that the clouds are great. The foreground is here or there. Some of these trees are interesting. This cloud doesn't add much for me.
No.
I would probably discard this, and I would probably find a foreground that's worthy of this beautiful sky, whether that's me just designing it, you know, and rearranging some of these trees or whatever. But yeah, I think the sky is really interesting. So a lot of times, and actually, let's take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back. And I don't know if I'll have time for a demo today. I think the roofers are coming back at noon. Shortly after, so it sounds like they took a little break, so that's nice for us. But But yeah, let me show you what I do with these kind of images when we get back, and that'll be a perfect lead into the next subject. So yeah, we'll see. I don't think I'll have time for a demo today. Hopefully some of you can join tomorrow on Thursday for just kind of hanging out and painting and talking. I think this has been really useful. So let's take a little 5-minute break, get some warm tea, come back. I'll show you quickly the picture I'm working on for the client and show you kind of a quick walkthrough. It's just 4 pictures, and it's going to be talking about these clouds. So not these clouds in particular, but what I do with clouds that aren't in the right image. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Perfect.
All righty.
Great.